Hey everyone, it's Britt here. Welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new, stick around because today I am going to be talking about my supplies that I'm using currently with my Hobonichi. So this is the Hobonichi Techo. You've seen multiple videos on it, and you will continue to see multiple videos because I have pretty much reached planner piece for 2018. If you haven't seen that video, it will be linked down below in the description box. But pretty much I'm going to go over some of the products I use, if not all of them. And so I'm going to get started. To start off, and I'll show you examples of how I use it. So I kind of started using a lot of my brush pens, and I was experimenting at the very beginning because my brush pens, I didn't know which ones were actually permanent, and I did not take the time to look it up, so I just experimented. And I do have a video which I did earlier this week on my handwriting with brush pens. And so to start off, I found out that the zebra brush pens, it's like the zebra fude brush pen, if I'm saying it right, it comes in a pack of 3, and you get the small, medium, and large. And I've been using all 3 of them. And I know I have some that are probably the same size, but these work great because they are waterproof. And so I can watercolor over it, I can use like my Tombos over it, and they won't smear. These are some of my favorites. So I've used the Zig Foodie Biori, and these are a brush nib pen. They are water based, so they do on most surfaces will kind of blend out with water. And I only have a few colors of these, and I plan on getting more just because I also like to use them for my brush lettering. So here's an example. I use this blue one for brush lettering here. And because it's not like a real brush, the brush lettering is very easy to use with these. Next, I like to write with the Pentel Touch brush pens, and these are the Pentel Sign, but they're the brush nib, so they have a flexible nib. They aren't like the hard nib that you can buy, because they do have the same brand. Pentel does have the Touch Sign that are the hard nib, and they do not flex, so you won't be getting multiple line widths. But with this, I use it here, I use it throughout my book and my Hobonichi, and they do have a very soft, flexible nib, making it easy for me to use for calligraphy and modern calligraphy and brush script. These are not waterproof, so just be aware of that. I do, of course, like the Tombow Fudenosuke, is that how you say it? Pen, brush pen. It comes in a 2-pack, or you can buy them separately, but you get a better deal when you buy them in a pack. I have like a ton of these, but I love to use them because it comes in a hard and soft nib, and they're easy to write with. And these are actually waterproof, and so after you let it dry, I would just give it because they can smear, after you let it dry, just give it about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can start coloring and watercoloring over it. My next favorite brush pens are the Zig the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pens. And I have multiple colors of these. These are real brush, like they say, which is why the title of these pens are so long, because they are real brush and the bristles actually spread out like a paintbrush. They are water soluble and you can use them mainly to color with, and so most of my coloring is done with this, with these pens, but I switch them out with other watercolor pens as well. Yeah, so these are great. I don't normally actually use them for brush script because they are a bristle brush, and I find that really difficult to do small brush script with the bristle brush. So I just stick to watercolor. Okay, next are my Tombow dual brush pens, and I use these a lot for coloring. You can see here I like to use the gray colors for shadows and to color in what the weather is. I use it for my peoples, my drawing peoples, and just for anything else that needs to be filled in with color. Then I have the Yoobi colors, or the Yoobi colors. I have the Yoobi brush pens, which you can get from Target, and they have a brush side, and then they also have a really tiny like writer marker size, and so I use these for coloring as well, and for brush lettering sometimes. Now as for other markers, I have the Crayola Super Tips, and I use these to color with. And also, I recently found out that you could use these to watercolor on certain papers, because I've tried it on like cardstock, it doesn't really work well. I've tried it on cold press watercolor and it doesn't really work that well. But on Hobonichi paper, because it doesn't absorb the color immediately, it works really good. So I have an example. Here I colored this in with like a pink. I'll try it again. This is the blue. If I take my water brush, you can see how it moves. And I mainly do this just to blend the color instead of seeing all those streaks when you're coloring with these. Now for any of you who do use these Crayola markers, let me know what other paper you have tested it on with watercolor, because the papers I've tested it on doesn't seem like I would ever want to use these on those papers for watercolor, but with the Hobonichi paper it works like really great. So I use these for mainly coloring, but I also plan on using them also for brush scripting. I use my twin tone Tombow pens as well, and I just use these for color. And it has two sides and they come in various colors, but I mainly use them for coloring and not really writing. And surprisingly enough, you will find that I use my midliners, and I use these for coloring as well. And the reason why I have all these pens that I use for coloring is because sometimes I cannot find the right color that I want to use, or sometimes I'm just tired of the colors of the Tombows and then I want to try a different color. So that's why I have like over 6 different types of pens that I use mainly for coloring. I have my watercolor brushes. This one I got from a Sketchbox subscription, and then this one, it comes in like a 3-pack, and you can get the medium, fine, and bold, like brush nib. And what you do is pretty much just fill it, the reservoir here, with water. So you unscrew it, and you just fill it with water, and you put it back on, and then you can pretty much take it wherever you want to go and don't need water with you if you like to paint. So that's the convenience of these. I just put them in my bag, and I have like a water brush. Speaking of water brushes, I have my Watercolors, and this is my Schmincke kit or box, and I have the Schmincke colors in here, and I also have the Daniel Smith colors in here, and these are all Daniel Smith, and most of these are all Schmincke, but this is one of my watercolor sets that I use. Let me see if I can find, like, I used it here, and started using it more, but I'll use a little bit here too, just to give it a different look. And then I also have this set of watercolors, which I like to use, and these are the Kuretake Gansei Tambi 36 watercolor set. So they have multiple sets that you can buy, but I have the 36 watercolor sets, which includes like the shimmer, like the gold and the bronze, and then like the white shimmer watercolor pans. These are the Palomino Blackwing Pearl pencils, and the lead is not too hard or too soft. It's like right in the middle. They come in different colors, like you can get the black body pencil, and I really like them because the erasers are really good, and when you do color or when you do draw and you erase, it erases the pencil very well. You know how sometimes you have pencils with erasers and the erasers like are crappy? Well, these ones are not, and they work really well. So that's why I like these. And then as for permanent black thick lines, initially I started using this pen, but it's not waterproof, and I hate that because this Monami, which I talked about in a video before, is like the bomb. It's not waterproof, and I hate it because it goes on so thick, and it just makes me so happy. But it's not waterproof, so I can't really use it that much. So I did start using it until it started smearing on my pages, and now I started using the Sakura Pigma Sensei pens, and these are, I only have the 0.4 and the 0.6. They are waterproof, and they're actually really short. They're shorter than a Tombow Fudenosuke pen, and it's pretty nice and convenient. They're not so thin, and so you have a good grip on it. And so I like to use these for my thick and thin lines, so I also write with them as well, and sometimes I color with them anything like black, so I use that. Now for my thin lines, I use this guy, and this is the Platinum Carbon Desk fountain pen, and it takes cartridges, but it's in the fountain pen form, and it contains carbon ink. So that meaning that it is permanent and long lasting, and it takes like the cartridge. So you just buy like a pack of 6 of these for like a few dollars, and then every time you run out, then you just slip this back in, slip another one in, and there you go. And then you can keep them if you want, but I throw them away because they're not really expensive. But yeah, so permanent ink, and it's very fine. So I used it for when I was drawing my son here, the baby hairs, and it's a very thin and fine pen. Now you can also use it to write with, but which sometimes I do because it is permanent, but not all the time. I kind of like it more for drawing. I use this guy for highlights. Now I haven't always put highlights in all my pages, but for when I do need a highlight, this is the guy. And this is the Uniball Signo white gel pen, and it works really good. Let's see, I've used it on my hamburger here, and on the McDonald's, and for a little bit of highlighting here as well. And that completes my Hobonichi supplies listings so far. I plan to use a few more things as time goes by, and I'm sure I will update you guys as I use some more things. I haven't really used washi. I think I'm gonna leave that for my actual like journal because the Hobonichi, I am using it mainly to draw and to get better at my drawing. I will be mainly using what I just showed you. So please subscribe and comment below. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and that's it, guys. So catch you guys next time. Bye.